February 23rd, 1991. For Hector Macho Camacho, playing the bad guy is a role that comes naturally. His 12th round stunt against Greg Haugan is an example.
Oh, look at this! Carlos Padilla is deducting a point from Hector Macho Camacho for refusing to touch gloves to start this 12th round.
With Camacho's flair finally cost him his undefeated record. It's Hector Camacho, the fighter fans love to hate, against Greg the Mutt Haugan, the underdog from Auburn, Washington. Next on Classic Night at the Fights.
Hector Macho Camacho, 28 years old, undefeated, 38-0. He's the WBO's junior welterweight champ. He's the WBC's former lightweight champion of the world, and he's a former 130-pound champion. He always brings such energy into the ring. And John Scully, I know you really believe that the ring persona of Hector Macho Camacho is a positive.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, he's a star. He's a guy that you want to see. And if you're in the arena when Hector Camacho is walking to the ring, you're going to turn and look. Whatever you're doing, you're going to stop and turn to look. And if he's on TV, you're going to tune in to see what he's doing because he's fun. He gets it. He gets the marketability aspect of the game.
Playing to the crowd at Caesar's Palace and wearing the camouflage tonight, he says that he is honoring our troops in the Middle East.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Caesar's Palace here in Las Vegas, Nevada, where tonight, main events and the undisputed, undefeated king of beer, Budweiser, presents a double dose of World Championship Boxing. This first bout is sanctioned by the World Boxing Organization, President Dr. Ramon Acevedo, Supervisor Alberto Aleman, and the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Chairman Dr. James Nave, Commissioners Luther Mack, Dr. Elias Ghanem, Bruce Lane, and Nat Carasali. The Executive Director is Chuck Minker. The scoring will be done by 3 judges at ringside on a 10-point must system, and they are William McConkey, Dalby Shirley, and Art Laurie. Physicians at ringside, Dr. Flip Omansky, Dr. James Wishgame, and Dr. Al Capana. The timekeepers, Al Bisick and Jane Broadfoot. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada, the moment you've all been waiting for, so let's get ready to rumble! 12 rounds for the WBO Junior Welterweight Championship of the World. The referee for this first title bout is Carlos Padilla. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, he's wearing the USA colors of red, white, and blue. He weighed in at 139 pounds. His professional record, 27-3-1, 13 KOs. He's fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, a 2-time world champion. Tonight, the challenger, ladies and gentlemen, Greg Haugan. And fighting out of the red corner, wearing the combat camouflage trunks and weighing an even 140 pounds, originally from Spanish Harlem, now living and fighting on the Osage Indian Reservation in Florida. He's a 3-time world champion, undefeated with a record of 38-0, 16 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Macho time. He's the WBO Junior Welterweight Champion of the World, Hector Macho Camacho.
Hector Macho Camacho, a big favorite on the Vegas Strip, 7-1 favorite to defeat Greg Haugan. If he can do that, a possible super fight with Julio Cesar Chavez he could cash in on. Carlos Padilla, the referee.
Okay, Hector, Greg, you were already given instructions in your respective dressing room. Any question?
No.
Okay, seconds, come out fighting.
Okay, good luck.
Good luck.
Alongside the Iceman, John Scully, I'm Joe Tessitore. Hector Camacho had to lose over 3 pounds the day of the weigh-in. Greg Haugan says he's in the best shape of his life, and he feels that He is inspired and motivated to take Camacho to the deep water where he can wear him down.
It's going to take him some time to wear him down, to wear Camacho down, because he's got that hand speed and he's got that very awkward southpaw style. So I don't anticipate Haugan doing much in the first couple rounds. Not that he won't try to, but I can't imagine him getting off first over the first couple rounds. So wearing Camacho down is gonna take some doing, I believe.
Can I assume that if you were to point to any one singular advantage that either fighter has in this fight that stands out remarkably, it would be the overall speed and hand speed of Hector Camacho as an advantage over Greg Haugan?
For sure, as an advantage over most guys in the world in his weight class. And you know, if you can point back to the Pazienza fight, the third one between Haugan and Vinny. Vinny boxed. He finally changed up his strategy after 2 tough fights. And then the third fight, he boxed and used his movement. And he won, I thought, pretty convincingly. And Camacho's a master at that. So it's going to take some doing, like I said, for him to really, for Haugan to get into wear Camacho down.
You see Camacho up on his toes.
See, and even there, you see Camacho throw that, what most would say is a meaningless jab. He just toss it out. But that's a good thing to do. I mean, because the guy doesn't know you're not going to throw at full speed. So what I call, you force him to deal with it. You force him to deal with you putting your right hand out there. So it slows Haugan up, and then he sticks in a stiff one like he did right there.
Speedy southpaw, circling to his right. You brought up the point of Greg Haugan's outing against Vinny Pazienza. That fight last August. Since then, Haugan has bounced back with 2 10-round decision wins. Against the unbeaten Camacho. Haugan placing the right hand.
And like with most guys that fight Camacho, you've got to find a way. That's easier said than done, but you've got to find a way to rough him up somewhat. You can't outbox him from the outside. That's hard to do.
Hector Macho Camacho preparing himself for the second round against the upset-minded Greg Haugan. Talked about Haugan's 3 fights with Vinny Pazienza. Camacho defeated Pazienza a year ago this month, February of 1990.
And I would say he's probably looking to do something similar style-wise tonight. Make it a patient, you know, not a really exciting fight. Box, pick his spots. That's his game. That's his comfort zone, and Camacho's a master at that. So I think Haugan or anybody that thinks they're going to beat Camacho needs to step up their game, their enthusiasm level. They need to fight with a little urgency against him.
Straight left hand scored well for the Macho Man. Double jab from that southpaw stance. Haugan opens up with a left hook, tried to come in with the right hand. And you can see the speed of Camacho as Haugan sent that jab to the midsection, and Camacho quick to retaliate.
And that's the thing, you can't, with Camacho, most guys, they can't test out certain punches with him. You know, a lot of times you might throw a couple soft shots just to see what the guy's going to do, but Camacho, he's like a shotgun. He replies right away. He reacts right away. So, you know, he's alert. He's very alert. He's almost like, you know, in a sense, you might look at him and say, this guy's afraid to get hit, but that's what makes him good, because you can't just sneak up on Camacho. He answers back like he's doing there.
Flurry there, eye-catching flurry. He's having a good second round. Haugan attempts the left hand to the body. Yeah, the old axiom in boxing is hit and
to win, and he does that well. Like, he could do this all night against most guys. He could take his time and pick his shots, force you to do something different, because you already know what his mindset is going in.
straight left hand again. Good round for Camacho. And you get the sense from Camacho, especially in the lead up to this fight, John Scully, that he firmly believes he's a couple cuts above Greg Haugan. He knows Haugan had the back and forth with Vinny Paz that he lost 2 of. Camacho feels confident enough to say that he's a cut above Vinny Pazienza. Right. Thus, if you extend that to this matchup, he's a couple cuts above Greg Haugan.
Right. I mean, hey, Camacho's undefeated. He's been a step up against everybody he's fought. And guys that, you know, on paper, on reputation, are better than Haugan. So, you know, just by that, you'd have to assume that he's not planning on losing tonight.
Perfecto, no necesitas ni que cansarte, así como lo estás haciendo. Con el jab para adelante y tirando esa izquierda recta como lo está haciendo, ¿eh? Calmadito, calmadito. No te aferres tanto, ahora contrólalo más, no te aferres tanto, estamos bien.
You have the range now. The range is beautiful.
Muévelo mucho, muévelo mucho, muévelo. No, moviéndolo es todo. Esto no lo tomes ahora, tíralo.
Right.
Well, his corner told him that the range is beautiful. Let's take a look back at that second round, John Scully, and see how he took advantage of that range.
Well, there's a good counter left hand. I'd say his range is usually beautiful in most of his fights. He dictates the range. He dictates the pace. He's the master at it. And again, if somebody's going to beat this guy, they can stay with him, but to actually beat him, to land more punches than him, you're going to have to step your energy level up. You're going to have to throw punches in bunches, because if you throw 1 or 2, you're going to miss 1 or 2.
Round 3, scheduled for 12. Camacho, the owner of the WBO's 140-pound title. He's had titles at 130 pounds and at lightweight 135 pounds. He won this vacant belt with a victory 2 years ago in '89 against Ray Boom Boom Mancini, just up the state line a bit in Reno, Nevada.
And again, he's boxing good. He does the same thing. You know, most of his fights, most of the rounds, he fights the same way. He forces his opponents to deal with him. It's not like Haugan is forcing Camacho to do what he wants to do. This fight is going according to how Hector Camacho fights. And that shows in the judges' eyes, too. They realize who the boss is at this moment. And Haugan's going to have to step it up, I believe. He's going to have to use his jab more, even if he doesn't land it. Use his jab more to get near Camacho, so he can throw the right hand and hit something. So you've got to get his heart rate up. You have to change his pace. You have to force him to change his pace rather than allow him to dictate it.
You can see Haugan trying to figure it out. How can he get in there? How can he disrupt this flow of Hector Camacho? On the inside, Camacho goes underneath. Back to that jab. That right hand from that southpaw stance. Attempts the right hook.
See, but he's throwing 2 at the most. 1, usually it's 1, sometimes it's 2. He throws, see now, he's done that 100 times already. He throws a jab, Camacho comes back with his own jab faster. And he's going to have to throw 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 shots. Risk missing a lot of them, just so he can get him going. Oh,
right hand shot there, and that puts down Haugan.
5, 6, 7, 8. Okay.
And that finishes off this 3rd round. What a statement from Hector Macho Camacho. Only the second time Greg Haugan's been down in his career.
You just can't do that, son. You got to stay in there like that.
I just pulled you before.
Okay, you pull out like that, the head was back, bam, he had you. Okay?
Give me the water, give me the water, give me
You're
the
all
water.
right. It was a half stumble anyway. Yeah, but you can't do that once you get inside.
How'd he do it, John?
Well, he comes back with just a good right hook. He opens up. Haugan is trying to open up, and there it goes. So speed kills. He, I would say he's trying to land too many headshots probably on Camacho. And there he stands straight up. He's got to get lower.
You saw Haugan. He was squared up and straight up, and then just as he was starting to bring his own right hand around as he was squared up, Camacho beat him to the punch with a right hook, and he scores the knockdown. Second time in the career of Greg Haugan that he has hit the floor. Pernell Whitaker did it 2 years ago. He had the 3 fights, very fiery fights with Vinny Pazienza. He never hit the deck against Paz, but Camacho gets to him tonight. Now to the inside goes Haugan, and Camacho chases him back with a series of punches, the last being a right hand upstairs. Now Haugan actually doing a better job here in these opening moments of these fourth round of trying to cut off the ring.
You know what I think part of that is probably, it's funny you say Whitaker and Camacho were the only 2 that knocked him down. Like that sounds funny because those 2 guys are not known as punchers in the least. And I believe it's because when you win with a guy that's not known as a puncher, subconsciously you have the feeling you can't be hurt.
Interesting.
And you know, that's why a lot of times you see a guy that he'll go the distance with a huge puncher and then get stopped by a guy that has very few knockouts. It's because subconsciously he doesn't have that same level of fear deep within him, and he throws caution to the wind a little bit more. Haugan was trying to load up with Camacho. Camacho turned the tables on him. Normally Camacho throws 1 or 2 and gets out real quickly. Now he stood his ground, threw some power shots. I think that's the last thing in the world Haugan expected to come at him, and I bet you now he's more alert. Mentally he's more alert, and he's going to be tougher because of it.
Strangely enough, John, I like what Haugan's doing here after he had his worst round of the fight so far. At least here, he's not giving so many advantages to Camacho. He's attempting to close the distance, close that range, and maybe make it a little more of a fight and not give so many obvious advantages to Camacho.
Right. Well, again, you know, it's the old thing where they say you wake up a sleeping dog. And he hit him with a good shot. He dropped him. Now he's saying, wow, this guy that can't punch just dropped me. So I have to step my game up. That's what a champion does. Now some guys may say, oh man, the guy's too big of a puncher now. He's gonna hurt me, so let me back up and cover up. But he's digging down and actually having his best round here.
Camacho comes back with a straight left hand, but you can see that Haugan is able to cut him off a little bit, able to pressure him a little more.
Now I like what he's doing here. The referee got out of the way and he got right
back
on
in
him.
there.
That's
right
the key.
Back in there.
That's what you have to do with Hector Camacho. You have to get right back on him. I'd like to see him keep his hands up on the way in a little bit better, but the idea, and you can see actually Camacho looks a little bit tired as he backs up. You have to change his pace, because at the outside pace of the first 3 rounds, Camacho's the man.
End of 4. Nice bounce back round from Greg Haugan. Joe Tessitore and John Scully with you for this 140-pound world title fight. 38-0 Hector Camacho in the camouflage trunks, if you want to call those trunks, taking on the former IBF lightweight world champion 2 times over, Greg Haugan, now 30 years old, 27-3, but he made the comment in the pre-fight buildup that is more inspired for this fight than any of his recent fights, and it's the best he's felt since the second Pazienza fight, which was just over 3 years ago, and really the sharpest that Haugan looked among the 3 Pazienza fights.
Watch your hands.
I'd like to see him keep up the energy, obviously, that he did the last round. Camacho seems to be pushing his punches slightly. I sense a little bit of that. I think Haugan should use some emotion and try and put the punches together. Corner him on the rope. See, now right there, he should let his hands go. Punch at anything he can hit. Force Camacho to deal with it. And you can't follow Camacho around like that. You can't just let him maneuver. You've got to throw your jabs, throw at something, hit something, dig on the body.
Right hand comes behind the jab, gets the attention of this Vegas crowd. Greg Haugan, originally from the Seattle area, but he's been living in training in Vegas. He's won his last 2 fights here in Nevada. Of course, he upset Jimmy Paul here 5 years ago in 1986 to win the lightweight title in upset fashion right here in Vegas. So he's won over many of the local boxing fans.
Yeah, landed a good right hand there. He threw another one. He should be coming back with the left hook. I mean, basic things. Right hand, come back with the left hook. Let your hands go in combination. Try to keep your momentum. Don't let Camacho back into it so much. Don't let him feel like the last round was just an aberration. He should try and show him that he's got a lot of that left in him. Right there, he should dig the body when Camacho bends forward.
Having Camacho with his back against the ropes isn't a bad thing either, as his position he just had him moments ago.
Sure.
Sends out the straight right.
He should push himself now. Camacho isn't quite as sharp. Now he may regain that soon. So in the meantime, you should want to pile up points, dig his body, try and weaken him a little bit. Like right there, Camacho's movement is not as good as it was.
Camacho trying to range fine with that right hand jab again. Haugan trying to corral him in a corner. He's had success here in the middle rounds of this fight. Haugan was knocked down in round number 3 and then all of a sudden started to find his groove in round 4 and 5 and here in round number 6.
And I like what he's doing here where he's letting his right hand go. Even if he doesn't hit anything solid, you force Camacho to deal with it. The only thing he's not doing, he's not really pumping his jab as well, which it looks like he could, but being in there is not the same thing. Camacho's got a good jab, but I'd like to see Haugan try to make Camacho deal with his jab. And right there, with Camacho walking away like that, he should jump on him before Camacho can get his stance together, before he can get his balance together. Like right there, work on that body. Fight him back. Don't let Camacho get the last lick in and move away. Like right there, get on him again. Keep on him.
Haugan doing a really good job of just trying to make it more of a fight. You saw the success that John pointed out with the 4-punch combination and the left hand that finished up to the body. That's exactly what he needs to do. Take away those legs of the speedy Hector Camacho.
Exactly. He's got a plan for later in the fight. He has to do things now that will pay off later. Like right there, don't wait. Don't let Camacho dictate this. He should get on him and be first right now.
Camacho testing the jab. Haugan a jab of his own.
Right, but that one jab at a time, that's not going to work with Camacho. Definitely not. He's got to pump that jab because he has a good jab. He has a very good jab, Haugan does. But he's got to throw 2 or 3 with this guy.
Camacho went to the body there. End of the 6th round. Back half of this world title fight. Greg Haugan, 7-1 underdog. Hector Camacho, the undefeated champion, 3-division champion. Camacho trying to chart the course for his immediate future. He's been putting out that name of Julio Cesar Chavez, the great Mexican fighter. Nothing is set, but the buzz in the boxing biz is that Camacho and Chavez could meet up down the road. Camacho scored a knockdown earlier tonight. Spray paints a right hand in there against Haugan. That happened in the 3rd round when Haugan opened up and Camacho's hand. Three-punch combination from the Macho Man.
Now he's got to answer him back. He just let Camacho get away with a 3-punch combination and now about 3 or 4 jabs without doing anything in return. So you've got to put mental as well as physical pressure on this guy. You have to work there. Like even right there, even with the punching and the pushing and the shoving, make it a tough night. Not just a tough boxing night, but make it physical. Haugan's a strong guy. He's got to get in there and make it a different kind of fight, because the way it's going so far, I'd say Camacho's a little bit ahead of him as far as trading just punches.
That's a little more of the sense of the fight he needs it to be. He needs exchanges like that, some reckless work on the inside, but he's the one that needs to be doing the scoring, Greg Haugan.
Definitely. And he has to answer Camacho back. You can't let Camacho throw 3 or 4 punches and then move around. Like right there. Now Camacho gets off a couple jabs. Now he moves and he dictates what happens next. Camacho, Haugan has to get on him. He has to throw punches. He has to risk missing him. He has to throw punches at anything he can hit to find his range.
Haugan trying to cut him off. Gets to the inside, but it was Camacho who let the hands go, and now back to the double jab. Veteran southpaw now on the inside. He gets the last word. It's a much better round for Camacho.
I'll say one thing, Haugan gets the right hand in there. Even when he doesn't land a flush, he hits something with it. He should definitely throw more right hands and come back with left hooks off of it.
5 rounds to go from Caesar's Palace.
Beautiful.
I'm Joe Tessitore alongside John Scully. Glad you can be with us for this WBO junior welterweight clash between the upset-minded Greg Haugan, trying to overcome a knockdown in the 3rd round earlier tonight, against the undefeated Hector Macho Camacho. John, early on in this evening, we talked about each man coming into this fight. Haugan came in inspired, motivated, and a very trim and tight 139 pounds. Camacho, by all indications, had a crash and cut to get himself to 139 pounds. Now we're entering the 8th round. Do you expect it to be a factor, the fatigue issue with Camacho?
Well, it could be. You never know how it's affecting him. But the whole point of, like, many people, when they hear a guy's losing weight, they say, oh, well, he's not going to be strong in the later rounds. But that's only if you put unbelievable pressure on him from the beginning.
Has Haugan done that enough tonight in your eyes?
It doesn't look like it to me. I don't think so. He's done it in spurts. But again, you don't know how much of a drain it's been for Camacho. For all we know, a little bit more recklessness. Let him let his hands go a little bit more with abandon. Force Camacho, not just physically, but mentally. Put mental pressure on him. Let him know that you're hungry. Show him that you want to win. If he has any questions in his mind about his own conditioning, Camacho, if he has any questions, you have to force him to deal with the questions. Don't let him have time to ignore it in his own mind. Make him realize that you're there to fight and that you're going to find out those answers for him.
Trying to hunt him down here. You can see the body language gets him against the ropes. Camacho turns the tables. It's interesting you bring up the point of saying you want to see a little more out of Haugan. You want to see a little more fight. You have the right idea. You just need to execute it a little better, because Haugan was very open and very honest of saying, hey, this is probably my last big opportunity. Of course, he was a lightweight champion. He had the 3 fights with Vinny Pazienza. He had the title fight against Pernell Whitaker. But if things go south tonight against Hector Macho Camacho at 30 years old, and now with his 4th loss at this elite level, he may not get back to this elite level.
Right. I mean, the only way, boxing's a funny game. You can go from a top contender one day and 3 months later you're an opponent. So his chance will be down the road putting him in with somebody tougher.
Hector Macho Camacho in the camouflage trunks coming out for round number 9, trying to keep his record perfect against Greg Haugan. Camacho, born in Puerto Rico, raised in Spanish Harlem, and now trying to be a star here in Vegas. Haugan placing that jab right to the chest.
And that's a good spot for it. Hitting Camacho in the head with more than one is hard to do. You've got to throw punches. Now, that's twice in this round that Haugan has gotten left hooks to the body, and that's what he wants to do. He wants to slow this guy down.
Also sent a glancing right uppercut right down the middle.
See, in those shots, it's funny. Like, you could watch a fight. They don't look like a big deal. But when you're in there, when you're feeling them, that's a big deal. And he needs to hit this guy anywhere he can hit him. Open up. I mean, he's got to go almost like every round is the last round. He's got to fight with that kind of intensity. That's what you train for in fights like this. He's got to know he's the underdog. He's got to know that a loss here sends him further away from the top. He's got to fight with some desperation.
What's so very interesting here is that Haugan did not look good early and then was floored in the 3rd round. But yet, here in the 9th round, he's very much in this fight.
He's done better. Like I say, he's done better since he got knocked down, I think, because it's almost like a wake-up call. Hey, I'm in a fight, and it's funny to hear people say that, but you could be in a fight and be almost bored, and especially if a guy's not hurting you. But a guy hurts you, now you're in a whole nother dimension. Now you realize there's a risk involved, and he might, I'm sure they're telling him in the corner, this is your career. I mean, if you want to escalate your career, you want to get up there again to the plateau, you've got to dig down. And this is the guy. I mean, a win would be huge over Hector Camacho. He's got to know that.
Leads with a right uppercut. He's got that right hand cocked. Goes back with a left hand to the body, and then just forces his way in the front door as Camacho shoe shines and exits stage right.
See, now he should do that again. I love when he does that. He forces himself in there, but letting Camacho circle out is the worst thing to do. Now, if Camacho circles out and he gets right back on him instantly, don't allow Camacho that comfort zone of being allowed to rest. And I'm telling you, he could change this fight around if he could will himself to do that.
Had him pinned against the ropes there. And he placed an elbow up against the bottom of his neck there. Haugan's been known to roughhouse a bit throughout his career. There's a nice straight left from the Macho Man. His best punch in many rounds. Start of round 10. Haugan and Camacho here at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas.
Now, at the end of the last round, I thought it was a tight round. It was a close round. Camacho landed a very good, showy type of right hand at the end of the round, and I think just so impressed with the way the round ends. You know, the guy dig down, lands a big showy shot. Like sometimes they'll take one big shot over 4 halfway decent shots. And but
thus the subjectiveness of
right,
scoring
exactly.
a fight.
It all depends on what you like and who's sitting ringside and what they like.
Of course, the one thing we can tell you in terms of the judges' scorecards is that third round, clearly a 10-8 round for Camacho, scored the knockdown. So Haugan was in a hole early on. Has he done enough to overcome it? Can he do more in these final 3 rounds? Chasing Camacho down now.
Well, I would say no matter what he thinks, even if Haugan thinks he's ahead, he can't. He doesn't have the luxury of coasting at the end and relying on his name like Camacho could. He's got to get relentless here. Right here, he's got to throw big shots. He can't place his shots when he has Camacho sitting there because he's not going to have him there for very long. This is where he needs what you would call a two-fisted attack. He needs to establish himself, throw big shots, keep his chin tucked in so he doesn't get countered, and really let his hands go.
Went to the body on the inside, but you can see Camacho holding behind the head.
And again, he walks in without the jab. He's got to lead with the jab. Let it be like a bulldozer leading his way in. Give Camacho something to kind of blind him with and let his hands go. Like right there, he's got to dig down. Don't let Camacho, you know, counterpunch and then get out. He should keep him there as much as he can. Right back on him right now. Good round.
Championship rounds forthcoming between Haugan and Camacho.
Just like you're doing that. You got 2 more rounds just like that. That's exactly the way you got to do it. You got to score, score, score.
Stay there, stay there.
Greg Haugan coming out for the 11th round against the undefeated Hector Macho Camacho. Well, you listen in to Jim Montgomery and George Chamiris in the corner of Greg Haugan, and you know they were trying to hammer home that point. Score, score more, score often, keep scoring, go out and do it. It's exactly what he needs to do these last 2 rounds.
You know, it isn't, and they're exactly right. Like, they don't need to give him specific instructions like throw 2 jabs in the right hand, throw the left hook. He's past that. Throw punches.
Yes.
Throw punches.
Just do it.
You're a professional fighter. You don't need me to tell you what to throw. You just have to know you have to throw punches. You know, emotion comes into play in professional boxing when it comes down to the last 2 rounds of a tight fight. You know, the strategy kind of goes out the window in a sense because your natural ability is your strategy is gonna come through. You're gonna throw the proper punches. You just have to throw more of them. You need somebody to push you. There's the right hand again. He's got a good right hand. He should load up on it. I mean, if you're landing it at such a high percentage, just keep throwing it. There it is again.
Just staying on top of him more now here in this 11th round is Greg Haugan. Camacho tried to go out, circle out to the right. He met him there with punches.
See, he's finally grasping what he's got to do, and he's you know, he's not letting Camacho be Camacho so easily. He's not letting Camacho just have fun with him and toy with him, and he's not following the script, and it obviously shows. He's doing much better when he fights with this style.
I know there was an early deficit, but you would have to think, in seeing what we've seen recently and here in round 11, that Greg Haugan is catching up on the scorecards, if not, has pulled even.
Yeah, I think, I mean, the way it goes, it looks like that knockdown's could be a big factor. He could be kicking himself.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. We've seen it time and time again. That 10-8 round can be so very deciding.
I see Camacho's mouth open, though. Don't let him slip away now. Don't try to land perfect shots. Just throw. I would hit Camacho anywhere I can hit him.
Well, that mouth open. We got the warning from Carlos Padilla.
Get on
that
him.
mouth open. We discussed it throughout the evening.
There you go.
Trying to cut some weight.
There he
Wouldn't even
goes.
catch up with him in the deep water of this fight. Haugan said so. In fact, Haugan said that's the only way he can pull off the upset, is he's going to win it late.
Well,
he's going to outwork him in the second half of the fight and just wear him down.
He's got his chance here, and his right hand, he's got to work that right hand overtime. And he hasn't missed probably the last 10 he's thrown. He's looked good throwing them. He's got to hit him anywhere, just like that. See, now he threw the right hand in his chest, and he made Camacho drop his hands. That's what you want to do.
Good round for Greg Haugan. 1 to go. He plays to the crowd, and they love it.
You're right. You're right. 3 minutes, new champion.
You got 3 minutes. You got 3 minutes to get on his ass and don't let him. Okay? 3 minutes. You can do it. You damn right you can do it.
Hey, Daddy, if you just go non-stop.
Okay. You're far enough ahead. Count to him. You won that round big. These people, the crowd is a little bit slow.
Macho time.
Eso es, con huevos, cabrón. Con huevos.
There's no round like
Échale los huevos ahorita.
Just stay right in his face. Like you're in a
Stay right
telephone
there.
booth.
3 minutes, new champion.
What differing opinions from the two corners. 12th and final round. Look at the confidence from Greg Haugan. Carlos Padilla asking for them to touch him up to start this 12th round. They refuse. And then Camacho, well, Camacho just starts fighting. Oh, look at this. Wow. Carlos Padilla is deducting a point from Hector Macho Camacho for refusing to touch gloves to start this 12th round and then proceeding to throw punches. Now, John Scully, I've watched a ton of fights. Maybe a warning to deduct a point to start the 12th round. That is huge.
Wow, in a close fight like this, that they may be talking about that one for a couple years, but I don't think you should be forced to touch gloves.
It's a fight.
We're fighting for the championship of the world. For my career, if I'm Greg Haugan, I don't want to touch gloves with you. You shouldn't make me touch gloves. I don't like it.
Touch gloves at the beginning of the night.
Right.
Once that fight starts, protect yourself at all times.
There's nothing that should say I should have to touch your glove. What if I don't respect you? If I'm trying to kill you? Because hey, I'm trying to knock you out. I don't want to touch gloves. It's false. It's phony. And I'll tell you another thing. Camacho's corner told him he won that last round easy. I don't know what they're
not only that, but they were starting to blame the crowd if you listen.
Well, he said the crowd was slow. So I don't even think it was a ploy. I think the cornerman really thought that he won the round.
Well, they're dead wrong if that's the case. Yeah. Meanwhile, in the corner of Greg Haugan, you heard them almost celebrating.
Oh, yeah.
You heard them building momentum.
And I
saying
wouldn't
3 minutes away, stay right on top of them.
Right.
Make it a fight in a phone booth. And you also saw now the added motivation for Greg Haugan as he was thrilled to see the point deduction, because what that means is the knockdown in the 3rd round has just been nullified.
There you go. Now it's an even fight. Now it's who won the more rounds. So, the knockdown is nullified. He's got to listen. If I was Haugan, I would go caution to the wind, because this adrenaline is going to carry him through. He'll take the punches now. Like he won't get dropped now because he's there.
What a turn of events here in this 12th round. If Haugan stays on like this, he could win this round and have his 10-8 round. It took Camacho to score a knockdown to earn his 10-8 round, but thanks to Carlos Padilla, the referee, deducting a point, Greg Haugan with an enormous opportunity on the scorecards here at the very end.
And this fight definitely is not ending like it began. That's for sure. Camacho is probably gassed out right now. That's the way it looks to me. His experience is allowing him to try to fake it, to try to buy time. But Haugan's not allowing that. And he shouldn't allow that. He should be as relentless. This is a career fight.
Wow. Can you believe that? No sportsmanship there at the end. Haugan is celebrating. They lift him up. Camacho thinks that he has done enough. Which way will it go? And what controversy caused by referee Carlos Padilla? They are going to be talking about that one for years to come.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a split decision. Here's the official scoring. Dalby Shirley scores the bout 114 to 112 for Camacho. Bill McConkey scores the bout 114 to 112. He has it for Haugan. Art Laurie scores the bout 114 to 113 for the winner by split decision here at Caesars Palace. And new champion, Greg Haugan.
Greg Haugan said this was his last big opportunity in the fight game. He took full advantage with a comeback win to hand Hector Macho Camacho his first loss.